We will no longer, and I hate it. We're like 2 weeks out from the new year. I am just frustrated and I'm over it, and Please forgive me. I may have rearranged my room without you this week and I'm really sorry. I had my desk in this corner before and I've moved it around so it's half window, half wall, which is my favorite setup for a desk. I like to be half wall, half window, and I put contact paper on my desk and I hate it. This is now what my desk looks like. Look, I love it. I love that I blue tacked my paint by numbers to the wall. It just needs a frame and it would make it look really cool and I like that. And the contact paper, it's okay. I prefer it to the glass, but you can clearly see the seam here. It's a very plasticky, rigid contact paper that I got from Kmart. There's a different type of contact paper from Kmart. The other type is the one that I used back earlier this year, and it's so much better. So I may rip this all off and get the other one that's just softer, a little more matte, and redo it. So I don't hate it, but I still am just not the biggest fan. Also, I grabbed out my coffee mug from T2, the one that I did end up chipping a couple of weeks ago, and thought, you know what, I'm gonna put tea in it anyway because I don't have to drink from that side. I can just stick to the side that's actually okay. Anyway, we're like 2 weeks out from the new year and I'm feeling really frustrated and I'm wondering if anybody else is feeling the same. I am motivated but not inspired, if that makes sense. Like I want to, you know, do the whole new year, new me thing because it's my favorite time of the year. I do this every year and I love it, but I'm not that inspired. I have been thinking about some of the videos that I've made in the past. I make videos about the whole new year, new me thing every single year, and I just am not feeling the vibe. I've sort of gone through search results and I've looked on Pinterest and I'm just not feeling it. I feel like a lot of the stuff that I've always created has just been really surface level. I made 2 videos like 2 months ago about new year, new me stuff, and they're just so like bland. And I don't know why I made them. It's how I used to make them, and it's not inspiring. There's nothing about those videos that's inspiring and I don't want to watch them, so why on earth would anyone else want to watch them? And quite frankly, I don't know how to make this video. I don't know how to structure it because I don't want to sit here and just be a talking head and just be talking at you and telling you all these things that I've thought about, because I do have my little notebook here and I was making some notes about some things that I wanted to include into this video, but I don't really know how to structure it and make it interesting without it being too boring, without being just like me talking at you and just listing things, because I don't like that style and I don't like that vibe. But there's some cool things that we should talk about, at least I think we should talk about, because I am just frustrated and I'm over it and I want to really embrace this whole new year thing, because there's always something really satisfying about starting a new year and just feeling like this is going to be the best year ever, and then there's nothing worse than it just falling off and I don't know, nothing sticks and it's not fun, and then you just want to wait till the next new year, and we're not doing that this year. There's actually a lot of things that we're not doing. I don't know if you can tell my frustration, but I'm frustrated and there's so many things that we're not doing next year, okay? And I don't know which one to start with. What do we feel like? What do we feel like talking about? I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 different sort of points here. Some of them are like a bit interconnected and they work together. And I am leaning towards talking about not knowing who we are. That's what we're not doing in 2024. This is like a double negative and I have to get my head around the double negative sometimes. We will no longer not know who we are in 2024. I feel like 2023 has been a bit of a soul-searching year for me, as cliche as that is to say, and I hate saying that kind of thing, but I feel like I've been trying to figure out who I am and where I'm going in life. And I feel like I'm starting to understand it and I'm really excited about it actually. I'm really excited about implementing all of these things that I've slowly been like collecting bits of things that I'm like, yep, that makes me me. That's the type of life I want to live. These are my morals, these are my values, and kind of bringing it all together. And I'm really excited to be able to move into my whole new life in 2024. If you're new and you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm going to be moving in the new year. I'm going to be moving back overseas. So I really am starting a whole new life next year. And I'm so excited about really figuring out who I am, like what drives me, what my passions are, what my values are, and how I can live according to all of that. And I have this like rough idea, but somehow in the next few weeks and in the, you know, beginning of the year, I really want to try and figure out what it is. Like, you know those things about myself and then figure out what things I can do in my day-to-day life that help me live to those things. Anyways, I don't know if that was just like a whole lot of words or whatnot, but we're no longer not knowing ourselves, okay? We're gonna listen and we're gonna figure it out and we're gonna live our lives to who we are. I think that point comes from a place of always wanting to appease everybody else, to keep everybody else happy. And it's not to say that I'm gonna go through life being completely ignorant to anybody else's needs and storm my way through life being completely self-centered. I think what being on the internet has taught me in all of these years of having a YouTube social media career is that there are so many different types of people and I can't make everybody happy. And my life choices and the way that I want to live my life is for some reason going to offend some people. My intention is always to be kind and compassionate and caring, but my life choices are not an intentional attack on other people, and I just need to accept that. I think other people need to accept that, and I have to keep moving forward and living my life accordingly, and I think that's where that point comes from. Are we off to a good start? Please tell me we're off to a good start. I hope we're off to a good start. We're like 6 minutes into the video and I have just been a talking head at this point. So we have a scene change and I'm going to attempt to put my hair half up because I like my hair half up. I like it when I have it out of my face. So I'm gonna do that while I talk to you. And doing this, me putting my hair up is gonna make me a walking contradiction for this point, okay? The next thing we're not doing in 2024, I cannot believe I just said 2024. Where is time going? We are not jumping on trends. We are not following trends and buying things for the sake of buying things. And I say that as I am literally putting a hair bow in my hair. I bought this off Amazon and it's very, very cute. And this is such a trend right now. Hair bows, such a trend. And quite frankly, I'm a little undecided on the trend. I really do like them, but then there's a part of me that's like, no, they're very, very childish. Can't decide. But this was a very inexpensive thing for me to test out and try. But I'm not saying don't buy trending items. I'm not saying avoid them at all costs. What I'm saying is like really think about the purchase. Really think about it, especially if it's something that's a little more pricey. Like I've seen those UGG slippers a lot and they are quite pricey. I've also, you know, the Stanley cups. Everybody loves the Stanley cups. And again, they're quite pricey. The thing that we are going to do is to really, really think about our purchases and whether those things actually align with us and who we are, or whether we're just jumping onto something because we don't want to feel left out. Because I don't know if I'm the only person that feels this way, but sometimes when I watch creators like on TikTok or Instagram and they are wearing those Uggs or they're using a Stanley cup or some other trending item, I just sort of think to myself, like, I'm missing out. I'm not like part of the gang, I'm not part of the club. Because as humans, we like to feel a part of something. Like it's very important to us to feel like a community, and sometimes having those things makes us feel like we fit in and it makes it feel like we're connecting even though we're really not. But I do feel that way. It's like a FOMO but for like things, and that's probably not a good thing. But yeah, I'm not saying avoid trends at all costs. I'm literally putting a trending hair bow in my hair as we speak. You know what I also don't have in order to do this is the little clear elastics. I need to get them, but do we like it? Is it cute or is it a little too childish? Because I can't decide if this actually, you know, fits me. But yeah, so we're not gonna be jumping on trends just for the sake of jumping on trends. We're gonna be buying things because we really like them and they make us us, you know? I am going to cross off the few things I've already talked about so I don't get myself all confused here. You have got me in such a chatty mood today, so this may take a while, this video. We might be here for a while, but I feel like this is good stuff to talk about, you know? The next thing we're not doing in 2024 is we're not gonna fall off the wagon. I was talking about this, I think earlier in the video, where there's that not so great feeling when you wanna implement all of these habits and you have all these goals and then it all seems really great at the beginning of the year and then you just fall off and then it's discouraging and then you don't wanna keep going and it's so hard to get back on and then you just wanna wait for the next year or the next week or the next month, that kind of thing. And over the last couple of years, I've been experimenting with different planners and trying to find what's gonna work for me. Like what's gonna keep me showing up every day. Well, maybe not every day, because I don't think you have to push yourself every single day. But you know, being consistent is the key here. Like, what's gonna help me show up and try to be more consistent in my life? What's gonna help me actually implement habits into my daily routine? And I've found a few things that work, a few things that don't, and I'm really excited because I just created a habit tracker. And the thing that I am so excited about for this is the detail, the fact that there is stuff that you can do every single day. Like it's not just a overarching monthly or weekly or yearly goal. It's here's a day, here's all the things you can do on this day, and then the next day, and the next day, and the next day. So it is so broken down into tiny attainable steps. I love that, and I'm so excited to use it in 2024 and see how I go at really building up my little daily habits. I'm gonna go and get my laptop and show you because it's the coolest. This is my habit tracker here, and it looks like a lot because there is kind of a lot of stuff to do for the whole month, but it's very, very easy to use. This is in the color Unicorn, which is a really pretty pastel color. This matches the unicorn color of the budget spreadsheet. So I'm just going to give you a really quick overview, but I will have a more in-depth video to go along with the product. I thought I would switch over to a screen recording because it's far clearer than me pointing the camera at my computer. This is my monthly dashboard, and it looks like a lot, but it's very cool. So over here on the left, you have a section that you can put in your daily habits, and then next to that, you have all of these check boxes, and as you check them all off, there's a little progress that will move up towards 100%, which is very, very cool. Over here on the right, there's a little section to put in a goal of how many days you think you'll be able to achieve that habit for the month, and then there's an actual next to it. There's also a little progress graph up here in the top left that will show you your progress for the entire month. Underneath that, we have this really cool graph that will show you your daily percentage of how many habits you achieved. Underneath that, we have a health tracker. This is where you track your hours of sleep, your mood, and your energy levels each day, and you just pop all of the numbers in. Underneath that, we have a section for weekly goals, and this section's really cool. So you add in all of your goals, and when you check them off, the little graph underneath will slowly work its way towards 100%, and when you have checked them all off, you end up with a fully closed circle and a little tick in the middle, which is very cool. And then at the very bottom, we have a section for events and appointments. You can pop in the date, the time, the description, and then there's a little checkbox off to the side. And also, if you wanted to track your monthly bills, you pop in the date, the bill, the amount, you can check them off, and then at the bottom, it will calculate a total for you as well. This is the annual page, which I think is my favorite. At the top, there's a graph that will show you what percentage of habits you have achieved each month. Underneath that, there is a health summary. This is an average of all of your night's sleep, all of your daily moods, and your daily energy levels. And then over on the far right, there is an average for the entire year. And then at the bottom of the page, which I think is my favorite part, there is a full yearly calendar that will color in each day whenever you complete 100% of habits for that day. So in March and October here, you can see that all habits were completed every single day. For the rest of the months, it's a little bit more sporadic here there. Some days were completed, some days were just a couple. And then next to that, there's also a bunch of graphs for each quarter so that you can see how you're tracking for that particular portion of the year. And then there's also a goals page. This is on the very first page. There's also an instructions page as well, but the first page is a goal planning page, and this is where there are 6 life categories, and you can start breaking down all of your goals and then break them down even further into daily, weekly, and monthly habits. And it's just so cool, and I'm so excited to get started with it. I hope that quick little summary was helpful, but I'm really excited to start trying to track my daily habits and hope that it really pushes me to not fall off and to continue with the goals that I set myself and continue with adding those daily habits into my routine. I just changed out of my nice pants into my leggings, and I'm feeling so torn about this at the moment, right? So before I get into the next thing we're not doing in 2024, 2 birds, 1 stone. This is your sign to go and grab your basket of clean washing, and we're gonna sit here and fold washing together because I don't wanna do it alone, and I'm sure you don't either. So get to it, we're gonna be folding some washing. I don't know how to explain how I feel about this thing. It feels like over the last few years, especially, you know, with the pandemic and everything, the amount of effort that I put into my daily life seems very, very minimal, especially compared to where I was maybe 10 years ago. I would always get dressed up every day. I'd always do my hair, my makeup, I'd put on a nice outfit. I would always put so much effort into my appearance, and not from like a vanity perspective, but from a place that it almost gave me a sense of purpose, something to do every day, something to put my energy into. And I miss having that sense of purpose. And I guess this isn't really about putting effort into your outfits. Maybe that's just not something that you want to do, but it's more about having purpose, having things in your daily life that you can put effort into so you feel accomplished, you feel like you did something. Because it's always a very satisfying feeling when you know you've put effort into something and you can see the results. And so I've been sort of thinking about what types of things I want to bring into my life in 2024 that are going to give me a sense of purpose. And things that are both about me, like, you know, putting effort into getting dressed every day, and also things that are not about me. You know, what can I do for my friends, my family, my community? And you know, I think you can do both. I think you can have hobbies and do things for yourself that also have a trickle over effect into your community and your friends. At the top of my mind, I just want to be doing more activities where I'm maybe making things for people. And I don't know, I'm just sort of thinking off the top of my head here. But I'm thinking like baking, or even having like a garden, like, you know what I mean? If you had a garden and you grew vegetables and you had excess vegetables, then you could give those to the people around you. If you like baking, when you bake things, you can give those to the people around you. And it's like, it just affects everybody in your life in a much more positive way, right? Like you are getting the enjoyment out of baking or out of growing a garden, and everybody is kind of reaping the rewards. And I like that. I like wanting to add hobbies and things into my life that make me so happy, but I can also trickle on and affect other people in my life. And I feel like that just creates some sort of sense of purpose, you know? And I don't know exactly how I'm going to implement that into my life in 2024 when I move. I'm gonna be new to a place, a city. I'm not gonna really know anybody. I'm going to have to start building relationships, and I really want to build a nice community, and I want to be doing things to help support my community. And I just think that that's such a wholesome, positive, all-round thing for everybody. I think it helps you, it helps everybody else, and it just creates a little bit of purpose in your life. I think a lot of that thought pattern is coming from the fact that I don't like spending too much time on social media. Whenever I'm scrolling on Instagram, I feel physically nauseous. It is way too much dopamine from video after video after video after video. It makes me feel physically ill, and whenever I get into like a full-blown phone addiction, it's like I fully need to detox, and it's horrible. I don't mind YouTube. I like watching YouTube videos because they're long, right? Like you have to be here for a while. Like you have to use your attention to be here for a while. It's not the same as just scrolling. So I'm not a big fan of Instagram and TikTok. It's a little icky sometimes. I think you can, you know, produce a lot of good content and a lot of helpful things out there and little motivational bits and pieces, but I would just advise against spending excessive amounts of time on there. And you know what I'm gonna make you do? Because I'm gonna do it too. And I don't know where my phone is, but I will do it in the top comment. We are going to check our screen time for Instagram and TikTok, and then we're gonna share it as a comment. And I don't know how bad it's gonna be, but I know mine's at least 2 to 3 hours a day. And I just think of, whenever I see that number, I just think of all the other things I could be doing with my time if I had an extra 3 hours in my day, you know? So we're not gonna be wasting our time on social media anymore in 2024. We are going to be conscious of the time that we spend on our phones, on those short format apps, and we're going to try to minimize that time and free up time in our lives for other things that we can fill with more positive, more fulfilling things, maybe like the baking or the growing a garden, you know? The next one is going to be a little hard to explain, but I think this is something really, really important because I've seen this huge sort of sway in the last few years towards just like nothing matters. And I guess this piggybacks on from the purpose thing, but it's like nothing matters, everything sucks, life sucks, the world's awful, yada, 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 you know, all of it. And I'm not saying that's not true. Life is hard. Life is hard. It's not always great. We're all dealt a hand in life, and some people's hands are far better than others. Some people's hands are really, really awful. And it's so hard when you do spend a lot of time on social media consuming all of the world's negativity. It's really hard not to go, well, what's the point of doing anything? What's the point? Because everything sucks, everything's evil, everything's bad. It's so easy to fall into that place. And then there's something that feels so wrong about ignoring that and being like, well, this is my life and I'm gonna get on with my life, right? So it's like, what do you choose? It's like, which one is the lesser of two evils in this situation? Do I acknowledge how awful things are in the world and then just hate existing? Or do I ignore those awful things and focus on my life and the cards that I have been dealt and just kind of get, like, you know what I mean? They both have their pros and their cons, you know? And it's like, which one do you choose? And I think that you can maybe find some middle ground. I think maybe you can educate yourself with what's happening in the world. I think you can try to have an understanding of the negative things that are happening in the world. I don't know where my other slipper is gone. Oh, there it is. And at the same time, I think it's okay to focus on your life, because there are people in your life that need you as well. And I think, you know, going back to that sense of purpose I was talking about before, I think you can make a difference. I think you can make a difference to the people in your life and in your community by not just giving up and thinking, oh, the world's so awful, what's the point? I think if you do focus on yourself and your family and your friends and your community and focus on like the real positivity within that, you can make a lot of people's lives better. And I think that's a good thing. And like I said, I'm not saying to be completely ignorant of what's happening in the world, but like, I don't think it's a good idea to just give up and let the atrocities of the world just dictate that like life sucky and I shouldn't be enjoying my life and I shouldn't be doing the things that I want to do. It's really unfortunate, but it's the way the world works. You have your life, and there are circumstances and things in your life that are different to other people's. Maybe they're better, maybe they're worse. Life can be really, really good, and I think it's okay to lean into that good. And I think that's what we should do in 2024, is I think we should lean into that good and see how we can better the lives of the people around us, because then that's making a difference. And while we may not be able to change what's happening on the other side of the world, we can change what's happening within our community and our space and our people. And these are just the things that I've been thinking about a lot lately, and I think that that's really cool. I'm almost done with my washing. This was delightful. Thank you for joining me while I did this, because now all I have to do is put it away. I need to keep ticking off my little, I was gonna say to-do list. I mean, it's kind of a to-do list because I'm talking about each thing as I go through it. We talked about not having a purpose. We talked about not wasting time on social media. We talked about not hating the world and hating life. For the last few things that I have on my list, I feel like I've already sort of talked about them. I said a lot of this was really intertwined, but I guess lately I've just been sensing, especially when I go online, and I know being online doesn't represent what's really happening in people's lives, but it just feels like there's like this heaviness and this sadness, and it's like, what can we do to try and, you know, make the world a better place when a lot of things are completely out of our control? And I sort of touched on that before, and one of the things I have here is we will no longer not be investing in our relationships. That's another double negative. I think it's really important to invest in your friendships and your family and your community. I've been saying community a lot because it's something that I value. It's something that's very important to me. And when I move to my new city, I'm going to have to develop a new community, develop relationships and friendships with a lot of new people. And I'm really looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to focusing on that in 2024 and trying to invest my time into things that I know are helpful, and I know that investing into your relationships is a really good thing. Building deeper, more emotional connections with people is a really good thing, not just for yourself but for the other people too. It's kind of all around really good, and I think that's something that we should do a lot more of in 2024, you know? I'm gonna cross that one off the list. The last two are very much connected. They're very much opposites of each other, and we have to sit right in the middle. So what we're not going to be doing is we're not going to be invalidating our feelings anymore. It is way too easy sometimes to brush things off and just be like, oh, it's whatever. And when you don't feel your feelings and you push them all down, they will come out at a later date, and it will be way worse than just feeling what you have to feel and moving through it. I have been seeing a therapist for 4 years now, and one of the biggest things that I have learned, and this is so much deeper than what I'm about to say, I'm honestly just summarizing it to a very surface level way, but I've learned that the quicker I feel my feelings, the quicker I move through them. And I don't mean that in like, oh, if I feel them for an hour, I'm gonna move through them in an hour. No, it just means that I need to stop fighting my feelings, to feel them, and then move through them. Because the longer you go on fighting those feelings, the worse things are going to be for you, okay? It's going to lead to a somewhat unhappy existence when you are just suppressing and shoving aside things and not dealing with things. The opposite to that is we're not going to be the victim anymore. We are not going to let the things that happen to us define us. We are not going to let things keep us stagnant. You can wallow in self-pity, but not for extended periods of time. And that's why I say there's got to be this middle ground, right? You can't pretend you don't have feelings, but you can't wallow in your feelings forever. You have to be right in the middle. We're not going to invalidate ourselves, absolutely not, but we're also not going to be victims. We're not going to just keep things holding us back. We are going to process things and move through them and continue on with our lives and prepare ourselves for the next thing, you know? And I believe in you. I believe that you have everything inside of you to be able to overcome any adversities that you have. I really believe it. I believe that we all have the ability to move through things. And I think 2024 is the year for that. I think 2024 is the year to really figure out who we are, what we want, and how we can show up not only for ourselves, but for everybody in our lives, create some purpose, and start focusing on the things that are far more wholesome, less on the things that are not wholesome at all, like social media, and be there for each other and have real conversations and real feelings and see real progress together. Anyway, that's my vision for 2024. I hope you feel that too and you're kind of excited in that way. I don't know what the rest of this year and the beginning of next year is going to hold in terms of me making these types of videos and the types of conversations and content that we're going to have, but I'm not connecting with the vibes, as I said before, with the the listicle type things that are like 5 things to do or the 10 things to declutter like I made a couple months ago. I'm not connecting with that. There's something deeper here and I want to figure it out. I want to really utilize the next couple of weeks to try and make 2024 just amazing. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope it wasn't too chaotic or too negative in any way, because that wasn't the intention of the video, but let me know your thoughts. Also, let me know your Instagram and TikTok screen time. I want to know, because I feel like we could all do a little bit better in that one, you know? Anyway, I hope you have a fabulous day and I will see you very, very shortly. Real quickly before I go, I have to cross off the last little things on my little to-do list / talking point list today. So that's that, and I'll see you next time.